They said, "Oh, I've got an MBA too." And I said, "Well, fantastic. Then you know why I'm asking. So what do we do with it?" And then he just stopped responding after that. So it's and that's why, and that's happened a lot. So a lot of people have struggled with particularly in consultancies. There's a huge amount of information. How do you manage that? How do you know to call upon it, etc.? And that's been a huge struggle in the last 15 years for organisations to come to grips with. And one of the so I also happened to be the risk manager for the organisation at that time, and obviously there are risks associated with data management and the lack thereof. But then you get that circle of trust, which what Lee is doing this piques my interest there, in that people don't trust that something's going to happen to it, so therefore why collect it? And then it's the whole lack of information management. So I think many opportunities have been lost, many mistakes have been repeated because of it. And it's something I'd really like to see a resolution to, as one of my last contributions to the industry, maybe.
Yeah, well, that's exactly why I created the knowledge canvas and a platform so people could manage knowledge, as well as the tools to measure trust through the whole process of, projects or initiatives, or just generally. Yeah.
Are you able to share that on screen just so I can take a look?
The knowledge canvas.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can quickly show you a template, and then I can just jump in and show you the portal.
All right.
I popped in the link to Tiffany. Who's that lady I mentioned? Yeah. Just mention that you.
I will.
Something. Anyway, share. There we go. So this is just a template. It's an old template because it has evolved a little bit with more KPIs now, but of what you get out of using the knowledge canvas. So it steps you through, it's a guided process that steps you through filling in each box of this knowledge canvas. And it goes through the InnerWise steps, the InnerWise framework steps, which start with the form phase, and then it goes to the create phase, or create and test phase, then adopt, and then critique, and then the process is iterative, so it goes back then to form, and it just asks the right questions to help you fill this in, but to think about knowledge as you're going. So, for example, in the form phase, it's not just about the problem, need, and solution, which everyone focuses on. There's a need to look at, okay, what is the knowledge goal we want to achieve here? What is our knowledge gap in our organisation? And therefore, what collaborators or who do we need to work with to fill that knowledge gap? Or what do we need to do to fill that knowledge gap? What are the knowledge objects that we need to make sure at the end of the day the new knowledge that we're creating through this process meets the expectations of our customers, and it's going to meet their needs at the end of the day, because they're the ones who are using it, whether it's internal or external. So it's making sure we get that knowledge flow that Gary was referring to. And then it also talks about the trust and energy aspects. How we're going to build trust through collaboration and through energizing activities, and how we're going to test not only the solution, but testing those knowledge objects so they are ready and fit for purpose before we go and start adopting what it is we've created. But we're thinking about all these things right at the beginning. So we're thinking about how we're going to roll it out, and what are the systems that we need to manage that knowledge and transfer the knowledge so it is fit for purpose, and it meets the customer's needs. And then we look at the end of the day, we're not just looking at lessons learned, we're looking at the benefits that are realized. So what's the new knowledge that's been created, and really focusing on that and trying to find what are the new opportunities for that new knowledge. So it just touches on a normal project flow, but makes you focus on knowledge aspects through the whole way, and also the trust and energy aspects. And there's a little area for people to put in the trust score and the energy score, and what the robot focus is that they're looking at that point in time.
How do they create the score?
That's through the trust analyzer that I've created.
Okay.
Yeah, so the trust analyzer, and there's a little YouTube which shows how it works. And there's the trust analyzer is now in a ChatGPT app. Yeah, people subscribe to it, they will get the link to the trust
When your
analyzer
chainsaw
app.
starts smoking and dragging instead of cutting, most guys spend.
Sorry.
Oh, what was that?
I was just trying to get that link. Forgot to mute.
No, that's okay.
Carry on.
So I can quickly open up. The that one.
I see there's a couple of other trust analyzers on YouTube as well.
So this is the portal to the knowledge canvas. So each organization will have a list of projects, and yeah, I've done one in Trust in AI. I started it, I'm not sure if I finished it. So I was working with a CSIRO on a program that we're focusing on Trust in AI. Oh, let's view PDF, sorry. So we can just download the PDF straight away, or you can go in and edit it. So when you edit it, so I haven't done it actually. I set it up, but I haven't done it. There you go. So it gives you an introduction to the InnerWise framework, and you put in executive summary, and then the trust analyzer reflections, which can come from the trust analyzer, or just from anecdotal evidence from people's perceptions. There's a section for other KPIs as well, time, cost, and other. And then it just goes through each step, and it automatically updates it. Okay, just auto refresh, or update it. There we go, so it's there, and then you just download it straight away into your PDF. So you can pop a picture in and all that sort of stuff. So it just helps you go through the whole process and fill it in. So that's the knowledge canvas.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that. There's an insight into what you're doing there, so that's cool.
Yeah, so I guess what I've been trying to grapple with is how to package all this up. Go away. So what I alluded to in the chat was that I've started to think about a membership basis for people to be able to access all of these tools and all of the knowledge that I have, through my book and through my posts and all that sort of stuff. And so the tools start with where you would start with the tools, I suppose, is with the Innerwise process mapping checklist, and that's in a Google form or just in a PDF form. And that you open it up and click that through to find where you're up to in your phases, in your project, what phase you're up to in your project. And it highlights, I guess, what you're missing and what you need to focus on. And then from there, we work out where the trust analyzer should focus. So the trust analyzer has questions suited to each of those 4 phases. And but sometimes we're at a cross section, so we can pick and choose the questions to suit where you're up to in the phase. So there's specific questions for each phase to measure the trust and the energy. It's also looking at roadblocks for trust energy, but also the knowledge flow.
Is that through a survey type mechanism? How's that data gathered?
Yeah. So the questions are through either they're in Google Form at the moment, or Microsoft Forms, depending on people's preference. So they can be gathered in a workshop environment if it's a small team, which is a better way of doing it. And when we're doing that, we're not just gathering their answers that they provide the questions, but also the dialogue that goes on. So we record the dialogue, and all of those answers and the dialogue, once transcribed, are uploaded into the ChatGPT app, and it runs with appropriate prompts and the training that I've given it. It creates a trust analyzer report and a score. So it breaks it up into different trust categories and different energy categories, and it has a score for each, and then it gives you an overall score for the trust and energy.
So does it, excuse me, does it require you or somebody similar to facilitate this sort of thing, or is it something that an organization could facilitate on their own with direction, a set of instructions perhaps?
Yeah. The idea of all of this is so it's easily scalable. So so it doesn't depend on me, but yeah, obviously me or my other Innerwise practitioners can facilitate the workshops. It can be run as an email campaign as well, or if you're going to a wider audience and you really want to get a lot of customer feedback, or a large organization feedback, then it can be done as an email campaign, or it can be just done as an interview as well. So one-on-one interviews can be applied to. Yeah.
Cool. So I'm just thinking
yeah.
about models for you to package it. So I think something along the lines similar to some of the software companies use, because basically it's a software app that we're talking about. Perhaps a subscription basis might work for you, and then the facilitation component could perhaps be like one-off project type things. But I think so. It's membership, subscriptions, similar, different names for the same thing, basically. So just wondering, would you have different levels that you could, that membership, subscription, whatever, could be targeted at, so that people don't need to do the whole thing at once? They can go stepwise and sort of add, like, to use the software developers term, like add modules, basically. So they don't do the trust thing until they've sorted out what their model is. Then they buy into the trust component, and that might include getting somebody to facilitate it, or it might be just they do it themselves, etc. And then they buy into the the next modules as you develop them, etc. It's just a thought process that people are already used to working with.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm trying to create, Gary. So that's really good. So yeah, so I guess it's building on from what we've started here at the Trust Engine Advisory Circle, and I've been talking to lots and lots of people for many years on this topic. And I've been trying to figure out how to take that discussion and then start applying it. So yeah. So what I've come up with, I suppose, is a structured way to understand all the InnerWise framework, understand and then learn the tools, the knowledge canvas and the trust analyzer, and how to use them, when to use them. So you're doing it, on an ongoing basis. But there will be, video tutorials and other things. So what have I got? So structured environment, applying the tools. So yeah, at the moment, I've got 2 streams, a core one, which is about learning the system, kind of what you kind of said, but then the mastermind is more about applying the system. So they would get more interaction from myself and other InnerWise practitioners at weekly, live working sessions. So like a Q&A kind of thing. So I'm answering people's questions live, and then on a monthly session, we'd go do a deep dive. I think that's meant to be the same. Oh no, sorry, a monthly one-on-one session. So just a one-on-one with the people in the mastermind, and then a deep dive would go into a new aspect of.
Can I suggest that it might not necessarily be the best way to structure it?
Okay.
So again, thinking about most organisations tend to be paranoid about competitive advantage and all those sorts of things, and talking openly in a group session and having other people share their questions and answers, real or otherwise. It comes back to that trust thing about while the answer to somebody's question might be useful to somebody else, an organisation might not want others to know that they have that question. It's a bit like a health issue on a personal level. You don't want people knowing about what your health issues and all those sorts of things are. And certainly in consultancy, that would be engineering in particular. That would be a very big issue for them. They wouldn't want to know their client organisations or their competitors to know that they're struggling with this particular component. So, and it may not come up regularly enough that they want to actually do a regular session. I think you would probably get more buy-in and more benefit is if you could like when you do surveys, taking the data out so people don't know who's asking the questions, those sorts of things. If you're going to do that forum space, but I think, and this is, and you and I have discussed this previously, if you don't have something to ask, there's no point being there. If there's not something you're looking to answer, there's no point being there. You really don't want to be involved when it's something that you have a question and it's your questions you want answered, not everybody else's. So around that interaction, I would perhaps look at doing a more specific group or
the mastermind is a very small group, so it'd be maximum of 20 people is what I was thinking. And then if they want to speak about something privately, they can just book in for a one-to-one session. So
again,
having a group discussion is useful because I don't know everything. And it's sharing. Oh, did he drop out?
That was quite sudden, so I imagine his connection.
There we go.
Sorry about that. I had a control on my headset and it hung up on me.
That's all good. Yeah. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. I guess it's just because you want to learn about how to manage knowledge and trust and energy doesn't mean you're the world's worst organization. 20% of organizations don't manage knowledge above an ad hoc level.
Yeah, it's not. It's about
but
them.
it's not
Their
like it's
perception
going to be
externally is what they tend to worry about. So again, I'm coming back to that large international organization I worked for not that long ago. Very because the diversity of their client base, which includes military, etc. They don't want external parties knowing what they struggle with.
Yeah.
And particularly information management is that particular organisation was one of their key selling points to a certain market sector. So they wouldn't want people knowing that they were struggling with these sorts of things is what I'm trying to get across. So it would need to be, you need to be able to make it anonymous in some form or do it on groups where there is unlikely to be any conflict or cross issues, which you can never really know that.
Well,
so
I guess that's the core program then, and they can choose whether they join the community access group. That's optional. So yeah, so that'd be just the core group, and then if they want me privately, they book me as or my practitioners as a private session separately. So it's just on a consulting basis.
I think you're perhaps missing what I'm trying to drive at. I'm obviously not communicating my point very well. It's I think you need to put, if you're looking to sell this to multiple organisations, which I assume you are, including large multinational type organisations, you need to think about what that would mean for them, because they want to go to the mastermind level because there's no point in them doing it otherwise. It's particularly a large organisation, they invest lots of money in these sorts of things. And they want to maximise the benefits and all those sorts of things. So they want to go there. But I'm just suggesting you put some thought around
another tier
how
above
you might manage it. Yeah, perhaps a different, or if you're going to perhaps frame or include in something like this your private or one-on-one type sessions, maybe that needs to be part of your package, is that you do 1 to whatever one-on-one sessions for half an hour and you charge them accordingly in their membership subscription, however you want to term it. It's just a thought there, because just using my experiences in the sorts of organisations that you would be targeting or would likely benefit from this sort of experience is, you need to target that, deal with that paranoia, basically.
Yeah, no, it's good. I like that. I did have a another brochure which talks to these services that we provide. So this is where people can, I suppose, can just ask for a one-off service rather than a membership, or they can ask for all of it on a retainer. So so the retainer option is probably what you're talking about.
Sure, that sounds like it. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. No problemo. Yeah. So part of
Lee, do you have any example use cases? I'm struggling to understand how the trust analyzer in the Canvas would be used in practice.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess maybe I'll just start back at the beginning, where the framework was created. So it started with the framework, and then I built the tools to be able to use the framework, and the tools are the Canvas and the Trust Analyzer. So, and the framework is based on many years of research. It's not just my own thought bubbles. It's building on how people manage projects, but it's filling in the gaps that we're missing. And the gaps that we're missing were around knowledge and trust and energy. So that's basically what I'm trying to do, and show that the process is a cycle. It doesn't just stop at the lessons learned. It keeps going. So at each stage, I do have other slides that unpack all this, but I don't have it in this deck. At each stage, they unpack into areas associated with the knowledge aspects and also the innovation kind of aspects, or the more normal project aspects like problem, need, solution. But then at each phase, it brings out, okay, what are the knowledge aspects that we need to focus on? And then same for the create, like I was mentioning before. You're creating and testing the solution, which is a fairly normal thing to do, but a lot of people miss out on creating and testing the knowledge objects that you need to transfer the knowledge to your customers so the adoption phase is successful. So, and you're addressing all the trust and energy issues along the way. And you're doing that by using the trust analyzer at each phase. So the trust analyzer has been created to ask specific questions for that phase where you're at. And the checklist helps you understand where you're at in this InnerWise framework.
So what knowledge are you talking about though?
What knowledge am I talking about? Okay, so for example, in the form phase, you're forming, you have a problem and you've got a solution. To get to the solution, you have a knowledge goal. For example, this initial system was based on a case study I did based on using recycled water. And to understand, the solution was to use recycled water, but they wanted to understand what were the impacts of using recycled water on the dam water quality. But to understand that, they were missing knowledge, and the knowledge goal then was to create that knowledge. What is the impact of introducing recycled water into a dam body on water quality? So that was the knowledge goal. The knowledge gap they had when they looked at their organization was the capability to develop models that can predict that impact. So creating a model, a water quality model. That was a knowledge gap. So then they needed to find collaborators to fill that knowledge gap. And that was a university. So it's just sort of mapping out all those things. And then when you're in the create phase, you're starting to create knowledge objects. And the knowledge objects are things like, they could be drawings for an engineering project, or they could be training manuals, or they operating manuals, anything that you need to transfer the knowledge that you're creating through this process, so that the customers or the people maintaining the solution know what to do. And it's created in a way that suits their needs and their ability to learn that new knowledge. Then the adopt phase is really embedding that new knowledge into your customers. So and without that embedding of that new knowledge, the solution won't be adopted, it won't be used. And then in the critique phase, you got all the feedback coming back from your customers, this is going wrong, this is going right. What do we do with that information? And so there's a set of questions for the trust analyzer that specifically critique all of that feedback. And but the main goal of it is to uncover new opportunities for the new knowledge that's been created through this whole process. So we're looking ahead positively, not backwards negatively. And then the idea from that is, okay, we've got all these. These are the next steps to for the next phase of development of this solution, or a new problem we've found and a new solution. Then we start again at the form phase. So the knowledge aspects are throughout the whole governance framework, which is what this is trying to help people understand the knowledge flow. And then the tools that I've developed are the knowledge canvas to help you with that governance and with that system. So it systemizes and helps communicate to others where you're at on your project and what you're doing, about the trust and energy, where the trust and energy is at. What's the roadblock focus that we're focusing on. So it's a communication tool as well, and it's best done in a collaborative manner as well. So and then the trust analyzer is measuring the trust and energy at each stage, but it's also looking at blockers of knowledge flow, which is trust usually. So, yeah. But we use energy because if energy is an indicator of trust. So if you don't have, if you're losing momentum, there's usually a trust blocker causing that problem. So you can use energy as a surrogate for trust in some cases.
Lee, in that model, does it take account of personality types and learning preferences? So some people are visual, some people are audio,
Yeah.
all those sorts of things. Some people have learn in certain ways. Some people need to be approached in different ways to transfer knowledge. All of those who have had graduates or junior people would understand that. Does that model, or is that model capable of considering those issues?
Yeah, well, the idea at the form phase is to understand who's going to be using the solution and who's going to be needing the knowledge objects and in what form. So that's all, a smarter way of managing knowledge is to really understand that knowledge comes in all different shapes and forms, and the recipients need them in different ways. And that's part of the create and test phase, is to do some testing of those knowledge objects to make sure they're going to be okay when, before you roll them out. So the idea is, that we're testing all these things before you roll them out, and then the adopt phase is more efficient and more effective by addressing all of those different ways of learning. Is that what you're getting at?
Yep. That's exactly what I'm asking. That's cool. Yep.
Yeah. So does that answer your question, Brendan?
A little bit. I think I was just wanting something more specific about, an example project. But you mentioned the water one.
Oh yeah, I've got lots of example projects. So
yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
I'll go back and watch the video. Did you want to discuss anything particular today? You mentioned in.
Oh, what was this? I guess this, what am I calling? This membership program. Where's it gone?
Oh, okay. I
This,
guess I'd need to understand
yeah.
the value of this system first, and really get clear about how it can be used and where organizations are finding the best sort of adoption to figure that out. I mean, there's some fairly well understood business models for doing different things around networks and membership models and subscriptions. There's a bit of resistance to software as a service models at the moment.
Yeah.
Just with the number of seats being reduced, essentially. If you get rid of 50% of the workforce, then you only need 50% of the licenses. Seems to be the stock market's interpretation of that. But so I don't know about the timing for a license or software as a service sort of model, but I don't really understand this framework or the value it creates. So I'd need to sort of see what you get from a trust score? Is it just, yeah, that's good, or are there really specific instructions on what to change to
Yeah.
improve trust?
Yeah, there are specific instructions. If you watch the video, it gives you a bit of an example of what I did. I've just done a couple of case studies that I'm presenting at Ozwater, which I think I also did post a little bit about. So yeah, where it's adding value is where all the other systems that people are using, it's adding what the other systems are missing, which is focusing on knowledge and focusing on trust and energy, and providing a tool that people can use as a management tool, but also a measure of trust as a lead indicator, rather than waiting for time and cost to be spent, and then realize that you've gone down the wrong road after it's all been spent. So the idea is to be more efficient and to act rather than react.
So is it a project
that's the
management
value.
tool?
Yeah, it can be project management. It can be a strategic, like at a portfolio level as well. Yeah.
I think I'm confused because it sounds like it's trying to be a lot of things to a lot of different people. So I'm not really sure what the focus is.
I think
Yeah.
it's the, sorry,
Okay.
Philippe, if I could just in there. I think it's something that the software industry struggles with a lot is the benefits realization. And that's certainly been a topic for the last decade or so about benefits realization. And I think that's what this,
topic,
yeah, I think that's what this is trying to capture though, is the capturing it along the way into and the flaw of why the benefits often aren't realized is because of lack of trust and knowledge transfer. And I think that's what this is trying to add into those sorts of adaptations. So I've also had a lot of experience in that. In fact, my master's, because I did it in the UK, actually covered those particular subjects about IT adoption, etc. So it's the benefits realization is one of the big struggles in the IT world, and I think that's what this tool was trying to capture, is that along the way.
What do you think about that, Lee?
Well, that's exactly right. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's addressing all those things that happen when we're not managing trust or knowledge, and we see things happen like misalignment across teams, knowledge not being transferred, as Gary was saying, and then the momentum slows because it all becomes too hard. Or we've already done that, and why are we doing that again? That sort of thing comes up. So yeah, I'm just trying to provide a system that will fill all those gaps and thereby add value. But it is more of a project management tool, but it can be just a team management, a performance management tool as well, which is why I changed the book title to Rethink Performance, because it's about rethinking how we measure and manage performance.
Well, I look forward to finding out more about it, and apologies for not watching the video first.
You're right.
I'm going to have to drop off, unfortunately.
No worries. Thanks, Brendan.
But is this now weekly or fortnightly?
Yeah, I'm going to do it weekly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll let you know if I'm around this time next week. Should be, but do you want the LinkedIn as the key channel for people letting you know if they're coming or not?
Oh, you can just send me a direct message. Yeah.
Okay.
Like.
I'll do
Yeah.
that. Sure thing. Okay.
Yeah, on
nice to meet you,
LinkedIn.
Gary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
nice to meet you, Brendan. It's the
nice to see you again, Lee.
See you, Brendan.
Okay. Bye.
okay, Lee. I might head off as well. I've got things I need to do as well.
Okay, no
But
worries.
I
Thanks
hope
for
there
your
was
feedback.
some value in there.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate it. Yep.
Okay. Have a good afternoon. Talk to you later.
Thanks. Okay, bye.